Hello, this is Mike. In this screencast, I want to look at one of the social networking tools available to us for social media planning, the professional social network, LinkedIn. These are just some comments and observations from me to help guide you in LinkedIn usage, particularly if you're new to the platform. It's my 101 guide, nothing more. So I want to just introduce some of the basics of the platform, say a few words about company profiles, and give you a straightforward little strategic framework that'll help you generate leads and connections. So, some starting points about LinkedIn. It was perhaps the first business social network to use Web 2 technologies. It's certainly the number one now. Started about 10 years ago in San Francisco. It was initially conceived of as a recruitment resource. The idea was professionals could build personal profiles, network with each other, and its primary aim was to recruit talent, retain talent, and share expertise. Eventually, it developed a broader range of functionality. Groups were established to help build communities of practice in a particular industry sector, and company profiles, a bit like Facebook pages, began to appear too. Most of the features are still free in LinkedIn, but there are additional paid for bolt-ons that you can think about to help you target your marketing activities in a more effective way to improve visibility in search engines and so on. I'll leave those to one side for the purposes of this screencast. Get used to the platform too. For most purposes, actually, you shouldn't need many of those paid for bolt-ons. So explore them at your leisure if you feel that they're relevant later. Starting a profile is very easy. You can just sign up for an account with an email address, and the creation tool is like many other social media platforms. Some basic information will need to be entered. You can control privacy on a lot of these things anyway. You decide what people can see and can't see. But the networking dimension means there are certain key things you need to have to hand. So the industry you work in and your physical location, essentials. Your current job, and a brief few sentences on what you do, essential too. It'll ask you for a couple of former positions, your educational background. Important in terms of generating hits, skills, at least 3 of your main attributes. Enter those too. Please do think about a profile photo. This is a professional network. It's a little different to something more personal like Facebook. A profile photo is fantastic. How many times you've been at a conference or something, you've exchanged business cards, someone drops you an email, you think, oh, who on earth was that? The photo makes a difference in LinkedIn because it becomes your address book in future. It'll also ask you for about 50 connections, people you know. So search for other people in your industry, your sphere of influence, and link with them as quickly as you can. You can create a URL. Most people don't realize that, just as you can in Facebook and other platforms. And you'll also be asked to put in a professional headline to get you noticed. A bit like joining a dating site where it's, it asks you to put a tagline in there to try and attract potential people to click on your name and read more. There are some limited options for formatting text, etc. in LinkedIn. However, it's quite a basic platform. So think about preparing all this ahead of time in a word processor. So Microsoft Word or Apple's Pages will be absolutely fine. So it looks good, you've got the words right, and then just paste it in when you actually create the account. That's my top tip. Once you've got an account, you need to start getting connected. Lots of ways to do this. Simplest way, import your professional email contact book. Yeah. You can import contacts from many mail platforms into LinkedIn, but you can also directly upload a CSV or Excel spreadsheet file as well. Another thing to do once you've done that is go through your business card portfolio. I have a little display wallet with goodness knows how many business cards people have given me on my travels. Look through that, find relevant people, connect with them via LinkedIn. That's the best way really to think about LinkedIn. See it as your virtual address book, your electronic means of exchanging calling cards, and have it readily to hand on your smartphone. Other ways to get connected and to spread your connections are to make and request recommendations. For example, oh, this person did this piece of work for me, it was really cool. The more you do that for other people, the more they're likely to do it for you. Endorsements will help get traffic and connections. Try and understand who's connected to who in your industry. There are lots of third-party apps available to help you map out, who are the people you are connected with, in turn connected to, and where are the relevant clusters within those groups that you might want to spread your net to. And of course, the more you join or create groups, the more your network will spread to. Company profiles can be set up. This is slightly different to other platforms such as Facebook, where you can't. You can create, as long as you already have your own personal profile, you can create a company one as well. What you need is a domain-specific email address. So it's no good trying with Hotmail or Yahoo. Your company's email address. Open a corporate account with that. It will let you, as long as you are linked in some way to that organization. So, for example, I work for a university. Provided on my own personal profile it says somewhere that I am working for that university, I could open a profile, a company profile for the university too, because I have a link. You could, in terms of administration, it's kind of all or nothing. If you're not careful and you tick the wrong box, every single person in the organization can administer the company page who has that. Who has a LinkedIn profile of their own and a corporate email address. So shut it down. Specify the administrators. Have 2 or 3 key people who will be charged with looking after the LinkedIn presence. You can create a whole variety of content areas in a company profile. There are some templates already in there on company overview, products and services offers, a careers and development section, and so on. Again, use them wisely. Have copy already to hand, prepared in a word processor of some form. Put that into and build up your company site within LinkedIn. It's a great tool to spread networks. And just as a silly little example, but a very important one, if I have a company with 10 employees, yeah, and each of us is a member of LinkedIn, and we have 100 direct, what LinkedIn call first degree connections, so 100 contacts each. They in turn will have contacts of their own, and their contacts will have contacts, second and third degree connections in LinkedIn terminology. 10 people with 100 first degree connections will typically lead you to over 6.5 million people through those subsequent links. So, even a very small firm can have a vast reach geographically through LinkedIn. And LinkedIn, like lots of platforms, has some fantastic metrics available too. You want to see this for yourself. LinkedIn is one of the best in terms of user statistics, so you can see what people are looking at, where connections are in the world and who they're connected to, what type of posts our group generates the most traffic in and out of your page, and so on. And some great documentation and tutorial support available in the site itself. So do look at LinkedIn's insights. They really are very, very good. No point in having a clear strategy and implementing it if you don't have metrics in place to see if it's working or not. And then, once you've got the connections, you need to mine them for leads. Carville and Taylor suggest that there are three key stages in this process of lead generation: deciding, building, and creating. The decide stage, the starting point, is there are certain fundamental questions you need to ask yourself. What's the purpose of this LinkedIn page? Increase traffic to our main website? Increase views of our profile within LinkedIn? Do we want to increase the number of sign-up or downloads for a product or a service? Grow membership? Are we using it mainly to convert people to offline conversations to do business that way, or do we want to do business directly online? Perhaps all we want to do is spread our network and have more first-degree connections. So think about the strategic rationale for the tool itself. Once you've got those questions answered, begin the building stage. You need to target your prospective profiles. Who do you want to do business with? Seek them out, establish connections, research and review their activity as well as their profiles, and that will suggest to you the types of marketing activity you might be able to engage in. And then it's about creating that customer. So, on the basis of all of these stages that you've gone through, think about the best way to connect with them. A direct mail, a connection request. What's the best way? Have a clear activity plan. You've identified all these people you could potentially do business with. How are you going to approach them? How are you going to follow it up? What are you going to do? And above all, don't underestimate the resources needed, time and money, in order to achieve all those things. So decide, build, and then create the customer through your marketing efforts. LinkedIn is very, very powerful. Remember, 10 employees can lead you to 6.5 million collections. So that's it, my very brief LinkedIn 101. Hope I've at least given you some of the basics you need to think about. I hope the stats on connections convince you that perhaps a company profile is worth considering. And, there's a straightforward little framework. There are others for turning your connections into leads, into customers. Because LinkedIn, above all else, is very good for that. Thank you very much.